We analyze YouTube data to investigate the global demand for a video lecture on the Arthur Lewis two-sector model, also known as the dual sector model. The data are taken from the YouTube analytics, and they are daily viewership patterns for a period of approximately a year and a half. Here we're looking at data for the past month, 4 weeks actually, and we see there were 362 views, an average of 13 views per day, for an estimated 1,500 minutes, or about 4.23 minutes per view. So the last month was above average in terms of the number of views and above average in terms of the length of each view. This third screenshot shows another aspect of the YouTube analytics. We are seeing data for the past 48 hours. These data show there were 21 views estimated in the last 48 hours. Part of the point of showing you what YouTube does here was to get a sense of what is available from that dashboard. There's demographics, there's playback locations, traffic sources, devices, and audience retention. You see that 45% of the views in the past month were from YouTube searches. 85 views were from external website. Those are the main sources. YouTube search led to an average viewing time of 4 minutes. External website, an average of 3 minutes. Unknown direct, an average of 5 3/4 minutes. And YouTube guide, 5 minutes 20 seconds. Here are the data for the entire history, and we see that 88% of the views were via a computer, and 6.5% were via a mobile phone, 5% were via a tablet. And YouTube also gives us a sense of the operating system that was behind the product that was being used. And we see that Windows was the operating system 70% of the time, Mac 19% of the time, and iOS 5% of the time. We further explored the iOS, and we saw that it was largely comprising tablets and mobile phones. I find the traffic source here to be most interesting when we analyze the YouTube searches. This table shows us the order of the searches, the most popular to the least popular. These are about 18 search terms that were used, and we see Lewis model at the top. Haradomar, interestingly, shows up around number 18 at the bottom of the table. That some people, less than 1% of the views of my video came through a search under Haradomar model. Those who search under Haradomar model probably got a Haradomar model video, and after that maybe the recommendations, YouTube recommendations, included my video, and you can see those individuals were least likely to engage with my video because that's not what they were searching for. The most or highest level of engagement is under Lewis growth model, and you see that that's 5 minutes 18 seconds. And the second is Lewis model of economic development, and then we have dual sector model. Those who searched for Sir Arthur Lewis were less engaged with the Lewis video here because that was not their goal. We think they were searching for biographical information on Sir Arthur Lewis. We also see Arthur Lewis mentioned around number 14. About 2 weeks ago, I came across a fourth video on the Lewis model by Takahiro Miyao. I don't know if I pronounced his name correctly. And I noticed that he had, at that time, 251 views of his video. I checked 2 weeks later, and he had 277 views. So there was, over the 2-week period, there were 26 additional views. So that's about 2 views per day. And it is interesting that his video, which started out so strongly in the first 2 weeks, sort of petered out in the next 2 weeks. And this could be the 251 views were from his students, and the next 26 views may be from his students, but could be based on a general search. The next chart looks at non-US views over the period, and we see 2 peaks in the fall, 2 peaks in the winter, spring, and 2 peaks in fall 2014. It does appear that the number of views is trending upwards by semester. The next chart shows a comparison of US with non-US, and we see non-US is the majority of the data, which is important to the analysis that we're undertaking. The next chart shows 3 regions of the world: Europe, North America, and Asia. We're going to do some analysis with these data. Here is US against Europe. Here is US against Asia. And here is Asia against Europe. The next chart looks at the top 12 search terms. What we did here was we typed into Google the titles that individuals use when they were searching and came across the video. Now these are Google searches as opposed to YouTube searches, but we wanted to see how frequently the video under investigation showed up among the top 10 or the first page of any Google search. In the search for Lewis Model of Economic Development, it showed up as number 9 at the bottom of the page. And then using the other search terms that showed up as the top 12 search terms, we see it showed up in several cases, but the order or the location was different based on the search terms. There are cases where the copy-in video did not show up. For example, Lewis theory of development, it didn't show up, nor did it show up under Lewis two-sector model on a Google search, nor did it show up under the Lewis model, even though it showed up under Lewis model. It did not show up under dual sector model, but it showed up under Lewis dual sector model. And it did not show up for individuals who typed Sir Arthur Lewis into Google, even though it did show up for individuals who typed Sir Arthur Lewis into YouTube. This last chart shows that there's a downward trend in the engagement for the video, and it was above average, and number of views and engagement was above average. But if we take this longer view, it looks as though the video is trending downward. Of course, that could be the summer effect, so we should not take that too seriously. There's only one summer of data here, and in the summer, it looks as though people are less interested. It makes sense that they'd be less interested in viewing video content and that they would be less engaged.